This was beautiful this morning. It's just what I needed to hear. My questioning is that it's very easy for me recently to leave the mind at the doorstep and to be in that space. But when I'm back into whatever you want to call it, the space that doesn't exist at all, is things don't work as well. And I don't know whether it's because I'm leaving. I mean, I'm in a dying process, and I don't know whether it's going to be 2 years, 1 year, or 2 minutes, but I don't know whether going into the space that you're reading about, is it affecting this reality? And if so, is this a good thing, a bad thing? Does it matter? I mean, my fear is to end up sitting in a chair and not knowing anything but what this beautiful world that I live in inside myself.
Okay. Can you tell me what's your fear again? Tell me your fear again.
My fear is that, well, it sounds silly now, but
No.
I know, but it does. I've spent a lot of my life. My grandparents were very kind to me and gave me a little bit of money that allowed me that I didn't use for 50 years and allowed me to retire. And money has never been a problem. It seems to be there when I need it and not there if I don't need it, you know? And I wanted to do the same thing for my children. And I worked very hard to do that. Now, if I go into this absolutely exquisite place of no mind, and you can't even give it a word or the word exquisite, because nothing does exist. You don't bring anything back, except that I'm losing. My fear is that I will end up in some kind of a home in diapers with a smile on my face, but spending all the money that I worked so hard on for my kids. And that's my fear, and that's my anxiety. I mean, I don't need that space because that's always with me. When I leave this body, that's where I am. Does that make any sense?
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Yes.
It does to me. I don't know that it does to most people.
Oh no, it makes a lot of sense. I think that's a great thing to think about. And I think it's a great thing to be concerned about, actually. I think that's your wisdom. I think that's your wisdom saying, hey, let me think about my children. Let me think about material things because I want to provide for them.
So that they don't have to think about material things. That was the gift my grandparents gave me. I didn't have to think about material things. I've been very frugal and, I'm cautious, if you want to say.
That's great. That's great, I think. And I think a slight aside is that my personal view is that if your kids understand the value of money, then you can give them money. If they don't understand the value of money, then that's a different thing. Because then, they have to understand.
They look at it the same way I do.
Exactly.
Money is just, as I say, sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. If it's not there, I don't have anything to use. I've never been in debt just for that reason. And sometimes things have been very close and very difficult. And other times they've been fine and just floated on. And it's never been a problem. The times that I didn't have it, something always happened. I was always taken care of.
Well, I think on a practical level, most of us probably don't want to end up in a home where, you know, as you say, we're smiling in diapers and we're all our savings, instead of going to our children, are going to an establishment, right?
It's a
So,
it's a place I'd be anyway, you know, when I leave this
yeah,
body.
yeah. Now, whether we end up in a home in that kind of situation, or, I mean, we don't know. That could happen to any one of us. But I would say do what you can to avoid it. You know, put the measures in place to.
It gets tricky though. The older I get, the more higher vibration my what do we call it, meditations, whatever you want to call it, it makes coming back into this reality, I lose more mind. It's very getting onto your program today was extremely difficult, because that my part of that mind doesn't work that way. I didn't work that way, because last night I was mostly in meditation. I woke up at 2 and I probably meditated, was in that beautiful space for a couple of hours in this time.
See, when we discover ourselves, this doesn't make the mind dull and stupid. It can slow the mind down. And like, I'll talk about myself. You know, I'm still very much able to use my mind, but
Yes.
I can't, there are lots of things I can't remember anymore. I just don't, my mind doesn't remember many things. And sometimes I can't always find the words that I need. And, you know, I don't always remember people's names and things like this. But what I've realized, a lot of stuff I don't remember, it's not actually that important, you know. And the things that are important, I do know about. And I've realized that my mind retains what it needs to retain, and everything else it kind of just forgets. So I would trust your inner intelligence. The fact that you have this concern shows that you have an inner wisdom that's operating. I think this is an intelligent concern to have. So trust that you will have these concerns, and they will come up, and they'll prevent you from unnecessarily bleeding money, in hemorrhaging money into a, you know, to an establishment where you'd rather it go to your children. And trust Bhagavan. Trust God.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, if the worst happens, again, trust God, because sometimes we help our children by giving them money, and sometimes we help our children by not giving them money. Sometimes them having money will be wonderful for them, as it has been for you, Lina. But other times, having money is a burden, or
I've seen that too. Yeah.
Of course.
No, luckily I haven't had that.
So whatever happens,
It's
we
not
do
that
we
much
do we
money.
do what we need to do. We do what we think is best with the knowledge, limited knowledge that we have as a human being. But ultimately, whatever, so, you know, I would encourage you to try and provide for your children, you know, especially because that's what you want to do. But if that doesn't happen that way, and you end up having to spend the money on whatever it is, then accept that's God's will, and realize that all these things work out for the best.
Or that I didn't pay attention to when I needed to step out of this life.
No, it all happens for the best. All happens for the best. It's not like a, I don't know, it's not like a board game where, you know, you have to, it's not like a game of chess where, oh, I didn't move my knight to c4 at the right time because then the bishop came in and, you know, and whatever, you know.
Yeah.
It's not like that. This is not a strategy game. We do the best we can with the knowledge and skills we have, but we give everything to God, and God will determine what actually happens. You know, you may play the best game of chess, but then an earthquake comes along and all the pieces topple over, you know, and you think, oh my gosh,
before.
you know, so
that one.
yeah, this is how life works. So we do our best, We work as diligently, as openly, honestly, strategically as we can. But then at the end of the day, whatever happens, it's whatever happens.
Yeah.
The practice of self-inquiry will not hasten your decline or reduce your intelligence. You'll find that it will take away the neurotic aspect of your intelligence. And so what will happen is that your mind will feel a lot slower often, but actually the intelligence is there in a different way.
Yeah. Well, I understood everything you read. So
yeah,
that's a good, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I hear you saying anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that
many people had this concern when they came to Bhagavan, by the way. It's not as if this concern hasn't appeared to many people before. Basically they're worried about how they're going to live, what's going to happen to their mind. And Bhagavan used to always reassure them, look, don't worry, you're not going to go crazy. You're not going to become dull or stupid. You'll find that your life is taken over by an immense intelligence. It can seem like you're going dull because things slow down.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you're going dull. It means your clarity is actually coming in.
Yeah. On another level. Well, he came to me.
Now there is another state then when we go into a blissed out state, where we just go into a blissed out place, and that can be quite dulling. When we just go into a blissful, like trance-like state, that's not the same thing as going to yourself. It sounds the same, but it's not the same. This can be very dulling. That's just like it's like being intoxicated. Or it's just like a blackout. It's like,
well, I hope I can feel the difference between those two.
Well, one is if you follow self-inquiry, you go towards the self. Who am I? Who am I? To whom does this occur? To me. Who am I? Then this won't happen. But if you just go into a blissed out state, then it's just like falling asleep for a bit. And then you wake up and you feel rejuvenated, but the ignorance doesn't go away. There's a subtle difference.
Yes.
And hopefully, if that's not apparent to you already, it will become more apparent as you attend satsang and have the opportunity to feel the energy of the meeting and ask questions over time. This will become more and more apparent, these differences. The teaching isn't always given out verbally all at once, although the higher teaching is always given out non-verbally all at once. And verbally, the teachings trickle out here, there.
Well, it was coming through beautifully today.
I'm glad to hear that.
I liked the silence of the meeting. I love the way the meeting made itself. It's beautiful. Thank you very much. And thank you, Kate, for introducing me to Tom. Thank you.
Thank you both as well.